Surprised your Ravens fell short.
Well, Wilds, as you guys know, last week and going into the weekend, I was very confident.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put a fresh coat of dye in my hair for today's victory lap.
It looks great.
I mean, I wasn't fooling nobody. Everybody knew, right?
I didn't know. I feel betrayed.
But then, as the game approached, I began to think about some things, Nick. Like, they're 8-8.
Yeah.
They haven't played good football all year. And then, at the beginning of the third quarter, their best defensive player, Kyle Hamilton, gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, really, sadly, Wilds, I'm not surprised. I'm gobsmacked! Thunderstruck! A brother is stupefied. I can't believe they let it go, Wilds. They had it in the bag. Enough of this. The box.
Oh, the box.
The box.
Listen.
Look, I'll be quick.
7 minutes in.
The bottom line is this. The Ravens have done, or did last night, Nick, what they have done for the last few years, the last 3 years when I've been picking them and rooting for them and all that, they found a way to lose.
Correct.
That's really what it boils down to. First, you had this, or I believe we have the video of the Steelers tush-push play. Now, if you can look, I don't know if we can slow it down, look at it closer. The Ravens aren't even set.
Yeah, they not, what?
How in the world? And the quarterback, he goes right over where they're like going all over the place. I mean, what in the world is this?
Taken out by a.
You're like, what is that? How you gonna stop it when you're like not even paying attention, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to set up. All right, that's number one.
Yeah.
Number two,
Yeah.
Awuzie on the touchdown pass from Aaron
He fell
Rodgers. He slips. Again, I'm not sure. Can we zero in on where he just
right here.
gets juked and slips?
That was an accident, though.
Oh, okay. Well, none of the other 32 teams seem to have accidents like this in huge moments.
He might have just broke his ankles in that one, I'll say.
Okay.
All right. And then, of course, everyone has seen it now ad nauseum.
Yeah.
A 44-yard field goal attempt. And I know, Nick, some are saying, they should have ran Derrick Henry to get a little closer. I agree with John Harbaugh on this, that, and I don't, 99.9% Henry doesn't fumble. But in the small percentage or chance that he does, then you're getting crushed. And it's not like it was a 54-yarder. It was a 44-yarder. And any NFL kicker should be able to make that kick. I get it as pressurized, but that's where you live as a kicker. And so they just found a way to lose the game.
So let me start there, and then let me go micro to macro on that end of game sequence. You guys have heard me say this about 10 different things, 100 different times when we talk about football. It's one of the reasons I love the NFL, and I love the small sample size nature of it. Everything matters.
Yes.
In every part of your season, everything matters. Derrick Henry fumbling in September might have cost them this game in January. Because had Derrick Henry not fumbled in those big spots early in the year, then maybe with 14 seconds left, one timeout, sitting on a 41-yard field goal at the time for a rookie kicker who had already kicked the ball out of bounds and gotten yelled at by Lamar Jackson for it, John Harbaugh would have said, you know what, let's give us a chance to make it from a 41-yarder to a 34-yarder, or maybe a 0-yarder, because Derrick Henry's known to pop a run every now and again.
Sure.
But I think because of the fumbling, and Derrick Henry's been brilliant all year. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He hasn't been a fumbler
throughout his career. But I think that maybe sticks
Possible.
in your mind. So everything matters.
And bottom line, they probably aren't fighting for their playoff life
If not
he
for
doesn't
that.
fumble
But
against
I'm
Buffalo.
saying even if they had the exact same record, the exact same spot, but Henry hadn't had some high leverage fumbles throughout the season,
Right.
maybe they run the ball there, because it wasn't just that they were sitting on a 41-yarder. They went backwards to a 44-yarder. It's in notoriously the single hardest stadium to kick in football that you have just seen one of the best kickers somehow miss an extra point. So there's that. That's the micro.
Right.
The macro is, in Week 18, they were who they have been all year long. A defense that for part of the game was awesome,
Right.
and part of the game was awful, but the whole game couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. An offense that at times makes plays where you're like, yeah, that's the only player in the league that can make that play. And oh my God, and Derrick Henry's his running back.
Great running back.
And then at times goes totally dormant. A team that is not super highly penalized, but man, the penalties seem to all come. They don't seem to have a lot of meaningless, who cares penalties. And to go back to the
They
decision.
almost had one on that, or they had one on that last possession.
Absolutely.
That could have cost them an attempt at the field goal.
Jawan Taylor Memorial illegal
Right.
formation by the
Ronnie
tackle. And then a coach who can get oddly, I think, conservative in weird spots, which was to me the center the ball, not run Derrick Henry. But again, I'm not killing him specifically for that. But this is who the Ravens are.
Yeah. Clears throat. I mean, it's like, this is who the Ravens are. Brew is kind of talking about who they've been for years. It's kind of confusing if Nick is kind of talking about years, because last year they were one of the most penalized team last year, which I ripped them for. I'm not sure where they stand this season right now in terms of penalties, because when you said, oh, they don't get penalized a lot, they got penalized a ton last year, but a game like this honestly makes me think of the Kansas City Chiefs automatically, because the way how the Kansas City Chiefs were able to sustain their greatness for so long is because they just did all the little things. It's not the Mahomes magic, it's not even the Andy Reid magic or the Spags magic or the Kelsey magic. Like, all of those things ultimately take you to that next level and get you to the Super Bowls, AFC Championship games, etc. But it's also all of these other little things, not getting that crushing penalty, not missing that field goal, not getting that fumble, etc. I do not think the defense was terrible. I don't know what Nick is talking about. The defense was not terrible. It did get banged up, but even so, Aaron Rodgers was making unbelievable throws. Yeah, I understand the one guy slipped. And again, I watched it a few times now. You can make the argument that he broke his ankles. Maybe he just slipped. If he did just slip, it just happens. It's unfortunate, but that stuff just happens. It just happens. And I actually think the proper way to look at this game right now is, because you could say, oh, if it wasn't for that, then we win the game. Sports are really tough in that regard, especially football, because each play is so individual. It's an individual play. Like, the game stops for a second, essentially, and then you run a play like not how it is in basketball or soccer or something, baseball to an extent. You don't look at it as like get an individual play necessarily, but you have like a pitch, doesn't matter. But football, like, everything literally just stops for a moment, and like there's like nothing else happening right now, right? Like, there's nothing happen, at least in baseball, when if a pitcher has the ball and he's like kind of walking around the mound, like someone on base can like run to second or something, right? So like you still have to kind of be aware of football. That's just not exactly how it's done in that regard. The refs stop for substitutions and whatnot. And so we zoom in on these individual plays, individual moments. And I watch games, especially when I watch games with other people, they often say, oh, if so-and-so didn't fumble, we'd be up by 10 right now. And it's like, they fumbled in the first quarter, and now you're already in the fourth quarter. And I'm always like, yeah, I understand that, but the game's completely changed. If you didn't fumble in the end zone and you scored that touchdown, like, the play calling would have been different for both teams. Like, it's the butterfly effect, like everything changes. And it's always hard to just hyper-focus on like an individual play, right? You miss the extra point, you miss a field goal, you fumble the ball, whatever. But those things obviously have massive impacts, right? It is objectively true that if you made that field goal, you win that game. But then you can make the argument, should, to have even been in that situation in the first place. What about this missed opportunity? That missed opportunity. What about not really scoring a lot of points, in the second quarter? Whatever it may be. And now if you zoom back even farther for the season as a whole, should have this entire season come down to a singular field goal on the final play of the regular season just to make the playoffs right when it's all said and done. Is that what it should have all come down to? And the answer would be no. Now, we could say, but injuries, but this, but that. And it's like, I don't know. They've actually played pretty well with the backup quarterback. Why weren't they doing that before? What the heck were they doing before? What even was that? What about the lack of relying on a Derrick Henry? Even when Lamar was clearly not fully healthy or banged up, you could have found ways to win those games. You could have found ways to be more competitive. And so, clears throat. Unfortunately for the Ravens, they just don't get the benefit of the doubt that some of these other teams maybe could. Not really many other teams, honestly. Probably really just the Chiefs, if I'm being honest, where you go like, oh, well, we were bagged up. Our quarterback missed a bunch of games, and our defense was this and that. And it's just like, yeah, that's part of it. And under normal circumstances, sure, but when you put everything together, when you look at what happened in 23, what happened in 24, what happened in 25, you're just like, nah, snorts, and that's the thing. In 23, Zay Flowers fumbles at the end zone, at the goal line, because he does the thing that you're taught in Pee Wee football not to do. Reach the football out and it got punched out. It's like, that was dumb. Then also got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and two Ravens got those penalties in 23. They refused to run the ball. They left Lamar Jackson on an island. You lose that game. You Snorts only score 10 points. Your defense holds them to 17. And then in 2024, it's just everyone's just slipping and sliding and forgetting how to play football. They're not running Derrick Henry in these key moments. They put Lamar Jackson on an island. He turns the ball over, throws an interception, has a fumble. Absolutely. So is Mahomes. So is, every other quarterback out there turns the ball over, even in playoffs. But then when Lamar Jackson is organizing a comeback, you got drop passes, fumbles, and everything else under the sun. And even then, when you watch a game, there was a M. Even Ravens fans at this point have revisionist history. Snorts. There was still like a minute 30 left in that game, and the Bills had 2 or 3 timeouts. And then I said at that time, but then it was going to be up to the Baltimore Ravens defense to rise to the occasion and stop the Bills from scoring, because that's what the Chiefs do. That's what the Chiefs do. And I even made a whole video where Drew Brees kind of talked about that Mahomes, how has these game winners or come from behinds, and he's like, in a lot of these games, people fail to understand that the defense has to stop the team from scoring or get you the ball back, et cetera, that the Chiefs have been unbelievable at. And then I was like, yeah, now it would be up to the Baltimore Ravens. You can say you have all the confidence in the world in that and believe it, but it's just like that belief means nothing to me at this point, honestly. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen gets them in field goal range. They kick a field goal and they win the game, then there you go. So either way, you still lose, even if you don't drop the 2-point conversion there. There was no guarantee. You don't have any confidence, and you shouldn't. There's no reason for you. I don't want to be like, oh, well, we were stopping them all game. I don't care. Doesn't mean anything to me, because the Baltimore Ravens are not owed that benefit of the doubt in that moment. There was a huge moment in that AFC Championship game where you needed to stop Mahomes. It was like 3rd down, and Andy D was up a perfect play. Patrick Mahomes makes a perfect throw. Snorts iced the game. Game over. Iced it. Done. See you. Bye. Going home. Chiefs going on to the Super Bowl, and so the Ravens have never shown the ability, as Nick was talking about the macro-micro, to ever take care of the details on the micro level. They've never shown the ability to win at the micro level. I mean, let's be honest here. That field goal should have been just to tie the game. If we're being honest here, it should have been just to tie the game, Snorts, because that was a missed extra point. And if you want to say, well, missed extra point is a missed extra point, like, you can't downplay that. And it's like, well, then you can't downplay missing the field goal to win the game, right? Like, then we're kind of trapped there. Snorts. But even some of the big plays that ultimately led the Ravens to be even in a position to win the game was truly on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson in that moment, avoiding the pressure, making the throw to Zay Flowers, etc. And even then, in some of those got to have it moments, that's why my mind locks in on even that play against the Ravens, that play that I just talked about with the Chiefs with Mahomes, and that throw where it was a great throw, but it was a brilliant play call too. And you just consistently see in these really big, meaningful moments, they just dial up the right play very, very, very consistently. And the Ravens simply do not. You have Lamar Jackson, an absolute brilliant quarterback, and you can hear Collinsworth talk about it. They ran Derrick Henry on the first down, and then they didn't get anywhere. So now it was 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11, or, they somehow got behind the sticks, and now it's 2nd and 12, 3rd and 8. Collinsworth's this is not where the Ravens want to be. They really struggle and snorts these moments, and it's just yeah, man, I mean, I snorts mean Daniel Jones should struggle in those moments. Tua Tagovailoa should struggle in those moments. The Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson should not. It's always going to be easier when you're 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3 for everyone out there. But there was a true sense, and Collinsworth was saying it out loud, and he was dead on. It was 2nd and 10 is not where the Ravens want to be right now. And every time he made some sort of comment like that, he was absolutely right. It's they just didn't know what to do in that situation. And how many plays really end up being run, that end up being completed, that are just 100% after the fact? It's really 3-4 seconds post snap. How many times do we consistently see just hike throw, hike throw, hike throw, pretty much the only time it is hike handoff? But the fact they still haven't even figured out a successful RPO with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the way, where it's you don't know the RPO where you don't know, is Lamar going to run? Is he going to keep and throw? Is Derrick Henry going to have the ball? The fact that they still haven't even found a way to make that devastating, just fundamentally snorts, does not make any sense to me. I just, for the life of me, and then just go back and see how Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Kellen Moore did it. It was brilliant. It was beautiful. The one game Romo really highlighted it perfect. I forget which game it was, but it was just you could see how so much of it was set up throughout the course of the game, where the defense is okay, we kind of know what you're running here, but we have no idea what you're going to do though. Are you going to throw? Are you going to hold it and run yourself? Is Saquon going to get? And it's just the defense is just we don't know what to do in this moment. And the fact that the Baltimore Ravens over these last couple of years have not found a way to truly figure that art out is pretty disappointing, considering who you have there with Lamar and Derrick Henry. For the life of me, I can't figure out why they can't figure that out. Why they can't make that just their deadliest aspect of their game plan, where you're just dude, at any moment anything can happen here. But instead, so much of it is he's either going to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, or tomorrow is going to hold it, and he's just going to kind of bounce around for a little bit, and then he's going to have to direct traffic, and you're just hopefully Lamar can do something great. Hopefully he can scramble, and you're just, the game that I saw with the Ravens last night was a game that I've seen so many times. So many times. And yeah, man, it's a bitter pill to swallow, no doubt about it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens? Are you surprised that they fell short? Who do you blame for this loss? How do you make sense of a loss like this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.